For decades, the American dream was simple, powerful, and deeply motivating. Work hard, play by the rules, and over time you would build a stable life. A decent home, a reliable job, savings for the future, and the belief that your children would have it even better than you did. This idea shaped generations. It fueled ambition, sacrifice, and hope. But today, something feels different. More Americans are working longer hours, juggling multiple jobs, and still falling behind. The dream that once felt achievable now feels distant, fragile, and for many, completely out of reach. The real problem is not that people stopped working hard. In fact, Americans today are some of the most productive workers in history. Technology has made work faster, communication instant, and output higher than ever before. Yet wages, when adjusted for inflation, have barely moved for decades. Productivity went up, profits soared, but the average worker's paycheck stayed almost the same. That gap didn't happen by accident. It's one of the clearest signs that the system itself has shifted. One major reason the American dream is breaking down is the rising cost of simply existing. Housing, healthcare, education, and childcare have all increased far faster than incomes. Buying a home used to require discipline and patience. Today, in many cities, even renting consumes more than half of a person's monthly income. When survival itself feels financially risky, long-term planning disappears, dreams shrink. People stop thinking about building wealth and start focusing only on getting through the next month. Education, once marketed as the ultimate ladder to success, has also turned into a trap for many. College degrees were supposed to guarantee opportunity. Instead, millions graduate with massive student loan debt and limited job prospects. They begin adulthood already behind, paying for a promise that no longer delivers the same value. When education becomes a liability instead of an investment, the entire foundation of upward mobility cracks. But the breakdown of the American dream goes deeper than just costs and wages. It's also about stability. Previous generations could expect long-term employment, pensions, and predictable career paths. Today's workforce is dominated by short-term contracts, gig work, and constant uncertainty. Flexibility is often praised, but for many workers, it means instability. No benefits, no safety net, and no clear future. When life feels temporary, it's hard to build anything permanent. This isn't about intelligence or effort. It's about position. And most people were never taught how the system truly works. Debt has quietly replaced opportunity. Credit cards, buy now, pay later plans, auto loans, and student loans keep people functioning in the short term while draining their future. Debt creates the illusion of progress while locking people into long-term dependence. The dream doesn't collapse overnight. It erodes slowly, payment by payment, bill by bill. At the same time, social pressure has intensified. Social media constantly displays success, luxury, and lifestyles that feel normal but are often financed by debt or rare circumstances. This creates unrealistic expectations and deep frustration. People feel like they're failing even when they're doing everything they were told to do. The emotional weight of comparison adds another layer to the breakdown. Perhaps the most dangerous part is the psychological shift. When people stop believing effort leads to progress, motivation collapses. Cynicism replaces optimism. People disengage from long-term goals like homeownership, retirement, and family planning, not because they don't want them, but because they feel unattainable. A dream that no longer feels will lose its power. This breakdown isn't about laziness. It's about misalignment. The economy rewards a different set of behaviors than it once did. But the cultural narrative never updated. People are still chasing an old version of success in a new system that no longer supports it. That gap between expectation and reality is where frustration grows. The American dream is not dead, but it is deeply distorted. It has shifted from stability to survival, from progress to pressure. And until the real causes are acknowledged, rising costs, stagnant wages, structural inequality, and outdated promises, the dream will continue to slip further away from millions of people who did everything right and still ended up stuck. But when an entire generation struggles at the same time, the issue is no longer individual failure. It's systemic. The environment people are operating in has changed, while the expectations placed on them have stayed the same. One of the biggest shifts happened quietly through financialization. The economy slowly moved away from producing value for everyday people and toward maximizing returns for investors. Companies once focused on long-term growth, employee retention, and stability. Today, the priority is quarterly profits, stock prices, and shareholder value. Layoffs, boost markets, cost-cutting is celebrated. When labor is constantly squeezed, the dream built on stable income collapses. The tax structure also plays a role. Wealth grows differently than income. Those who earn wages pay consistently, while those who earn through investments often benefit from lower effective tax rates, loopholes, and deferrals. Over time, this compounds inequality. The rich don't just earn more. Their money works harder for them. Meanwhile, the working class relies on labor alone, which has a ceiling. This isn't about fairness. Debates, it's about math. Compounding favors ownership, not effort. Another hidden factor is the erosion of community support systems. Previous generations relied on extended families, strong neighborhoods, unions, and local networks. These provided informal safety nets, shared childcare, job connections, and emotional support. Today, people are more isolated than ever. They move frequently for work, live far from family, and navigate life alone. When everything becomes an individual responsibility, failure feels heavier and recovery takes longer. Technology, while powerful, has also intensified pressure. Automation, AI, and global competition have reduced job security across many industries. Skills become outdated faster. Workers are expected to constantly adapt, reskill, and stay relevant just to survive. The promise was freedom and efficiency, but the reality for many is exhaustion and constant anxiety. The dream turns into a race that never ends. At the same time, financial literacy was never prioritized. Most people were taught how to work for money, not how money works. Concepts like inflation, asset allocation, leverage, and compounding were absent from mainstream education. As a result, people follow outdated advice: save everything in cash, work one job forever. Avoid risk while a system quietly devalues their savings through inflation and rising costs. By the time they realize this, they're already behind. Another reason the dream is breaking down is that success has been redefined in unhealthy ways. It's no longer about stability or fulfillment. It's about appearance. Big houses, luxury cars, and online validation become symbols of worth. This pushes people to overspend, overwork, and overextend themselves just to keep up. The dream becomes performative, not practical. There's also a growing disconnect between policy and reality. Decisions are often made using outdated assumptions about wages, housing costs, and job availability. Programs meant to help are difficult to access, slow to update, or disconnected from real-world needs. People fall through the cracks not because help doesn't exist, but because it no longer matches how life actually works. The emotional toll of all this cannot be ignored. Chronic financial stress affects mental health, relationships, and physical well-being. The dream wasn't just about money. It was about confidence in the future. When that confidence disappears, everything feels unstable. Yet, within this breakdown lies a harsh truth. Trying to recreate it using the same strategies leads to frustration. The path forward requires a new understanding, not blind optimism, but awareness. People who adapt begin to see the system clearly. They focus on building skills at scale, owning assets instead of only trading time, diversifying income, and making intentional financial decisions. This doesn't guarantee success, but it restores agency. The American dream is breaking down not because people lost ambition, but because the blueprint was never updated. Those still following the old map feel lost, while those who learn the new terrain begin to move differently. The challenge isn't to revive the past, but to redefine progress in a system that has fundamentally changed. The real danger is silence. As long as people are told everything is fine, that success is purely a matter of mindset or hustle, the frustration will deepen. Honest conversations matter. Understanding the forces at play matters. Because once people see the truth, they stop blaming themselves and start making smarter choices. The American dream was never meant to be static. It was supposed to evolve. And while the old version may be breaking down, a new one can emerge, one based on awareness, adaptability, and realistic expectations. But only for those willing to unlearn the myths and face the system as it truly is. That realization is uncomfortable, but it's also the first step toward reclaiming control in a world where the rules have changed. And their dream must change with them.